that can to stand up, please, and join me. And let's see. Party side, make some noise. I'm going to go over here. Okay. So I will stand up here so you can see me because I am not tall like most of you are, even with my heels on. Okay, so you're going to be my bass drum. You don't sound very excited about being my bass drum. No? Okay, so we're going to pretend we're part of like a Michael Jackson beat, and you're just going to do boom, 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 boom. Let me hear it. Boom. Keep going. All right, so in the gaps, you're my snare drum. So pat, pat, pat. Come on, snare. Doom, 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 doom. I'm just kidding. Keep going. Pat, pat. All right, keep going. If you're brave, add some more rhythm. Keep going. Can we add any melodies? Any singers? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Keep going. All right, keep going. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. Say, I'm free to be me.
I'm free to be me.
From my head to my feet.
From my head to my feet.
I'm free to be me.
I'm free to be me.
All right, so pause, freeze. We're going to do that all together. So what you're going to do is say your name. I'll give you an example. My name's Alicia. And I'm free to be me. From my head to my feet. I'm free to be me, okay? We're all going to do it, and we're going to say, my name is... That's how it's going to sound, because you're all saying your name at the same time, okay? Then together we'll say, and I'm free to be me. From my head to my feet. I'm free to be me. Are we ready? I want you to say it and take up space. Make noise. We want to feel your presence. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. My name's up. Okay. And I'm free to be me. From my head to my feet. I'm free to be me. Okay, that was cute. That was like, the boys' choir in the cathedral in Home Alone. Okay, like, we're going to take up some space. All right, so this time, all you sassy people with attitudes are going to give me some movement, right? My name's Alicia, right? I want to see. And then from my head, give me something with your head. To my feet, give me something with your feet. Are we ready? You only got one more shot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. My name's Alicia. And I'm free to be me. From my head to my feet. One more time. My name's Alicia. And I'm free to be me. From my head to my feet.
I'm free to be me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Alicia. What? My name's Kamara, and I'm free to be me. I'm today's MC. Hey! I'm so excited. So thank you so much for being here today and taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. We are just so appreciative for each of you being here. We know how busy life can be and how many demands that you have, and we don't take it lightly that you've taken time to be with us today. We are so excited about this momentous occasion that marks the next phase of action for Hope Starts Here. How many of you were with us in 2016 when we began this work? Stand up if you were with us in 2016. Woo! Thank you so much. You represent the anchors in this work and the commitment and dedication that we have for Detroit's children. This event today is going to honor the work that we've done over the past 3 years and really hopefully be a call to action for where we would like to go moving forward as we move forward to year 3. So many of you may remember that in year 1, back in 2016, really launched the planning of a framework, really trying to figure out what do we want for this city, for our children to grow up healthy and happy. And so we took that long year to develop a comprehensive early childhood framework for the city of Detroit, which you have inside of your folders. And then over this last year, we've worked on some quick wins, really trying to put together some innovative programs, and we hope today that you'll hear about all of those really innovative programs. You'll be able to share some of your ideas and thoughts about how we might move forward, but also really that you would think about how you might be able to contribute to this work in a more important way. So my team is joining us. These are my champions. Hey, I'm free to be me. So we're going to watch a video really quickly to share a little bit more about why today is so important for us.
I believe we will look back at 2016 in this community and remember it as a turning point. That was when we began a serious conversation about what we want for our young children. That conversation engaged 18,000 Detroit residents to identify priorities for the city's early childhood development system.
In 2017, those conversations informed a framework of 6 imperatives for the Detroit community to embrace, from guaranteeing the health and well-being of young children to stimulating their minds in safe and inspiring learning centers. These imperatives are guiding us to creating a Detroit that puts children first.
Our leaders have been pressing on those 6 imperatives and their 15 strategies ever since. And now we're at another turning point.
We are proud to announce that Denise Smith is joining us as our first implementation director to connect the hard work of so many advocates and take us to the next level.
Detroit is rich in people from all walks of life who care deeply about our children. This was reaffirmed through the Hope Starts Here process, where the energy and commitment of parents, of early childhood program operators, of early childhood teachers, and others put us on the path to progress. These are our champions of hope, and I am honored to serve this community of champions.
Champions of Hope are promoting the well-being of Detroit children.
Champions of Hope are improving the quality of our early childhood programs.
They're supporting parents and caregivers as children's first teachers and role models.
They are guaranteeing safe and inspiring learning environments.
Champions of Hope are groups of people that break barriers for family and children in the city of Detroit.
Champions of Hope are our parents and our teachers not giving up on our children and knowing that there's a better road ahead.
Can we count on you
To join us
as a champion of hope.
Will you be our champion?
There are so many people who have been a part of the Hope Starts Here development, implementation, and being champions for children. We are honored to have had the support of our Hope Starts Here Stewardship Board, a 20-member board representing a cross-section of Detroit leaders, early childhood advocates, parents, and child care providers for the past 3 years. As part of that group, we are proud and pleased to have with us today the co-chairs of the Stewardship Board, Rip Rapson, President and CEO of the Kresge Foundation, and Lejeune Montgomery Tabron, President and CEO of the Kellogg Foundation. We will hear from both of them now. Please join me in welcoming first Lejeune Montgomery Tabron.
Thank you, Kamara. Good morning, everyone. Wow, this is loud, but I am so excited to be here today. And I'm excited that so many of you who stood up when Kamara was asking if you had been here in 2016. We've been on this journey together, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. And for me, as I look back 3 years ago, it's like it was a blip, right? Just a complete blip. I think Rip always tells me my hair has changed every week in the 3 years that we've been working together. But that was fast. I don't know what I'm going to do with my hair over the next journey for the next 10 years. Who knows? But I just want to thank you all for being here. And on behalf of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation and our commitment to young children and working with them in their earliest moments of development, we are just so proud and honored for what we have done together over the past 3 years. This road started with really Rip and I connecting and just saying, you know, we both are aligned around passion for children. We're also very much aligned around our heart and soul for the city of Detroit. What can we do together? What can we do with others? How can we strengthen and create a system that will capture every child in the city of Detroit, wrap our arms around them, and make sure that they have hope for the future? And in 3 short years, we just left the groundbreaking of a wonderful new early childhood center that's going to be right here on Mary Grove's campus as just one example of the kind of brilliance and creativity that's coming out of our Hope Starts Here movement. And I'm just going to share just a bit of why we are so excited at the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for what has happened and what is to come. For us at the Kellogg Foundation, we're going to celebrate our 90th birthday next year. Thank you, and for 90 years, we've been steadfast. Children have been at the center of everything we do for 90 years. And as we've looked back on this time and as we look forward, we know that for children to thrive, their families must thrive and their communities must thrive. And what we're doing for children is setting them on a course to be the absolute best that they can be for our communities and for the world. And so what we're looking at now is, what does that look like when we actually put children at the center? And when we focus and everything we do is about them. And we think about that with a sense of urgency. And that's how we started talking about this work in the Hope Starts Here convenings. We talked about the urgency of this work. And I remember our first meeting, and someone's going to tell me his name. Pastor Simmons held a child up to all of us and said, we're doing this for, what was his name? Akiba. Everything was for Akiba, and putting that urgency in front of us and that wonderful, beautiful child in front of us, who must now be around 3. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking for every child, and we won't waste any moment in making sure that they're the best that we can be. So welcome to a 3-year celebration. but just a milestone in a journey that's going to last over a decade, because we're going to get every child in this community involved and engaged in early learning opportunities, and then more children will be born, and our work will continue. And as we start, I just want to talk about how we're celebrating and some of the things that we have to celebrate as we think about this work. So we started in 2016, and at that time we knew that 1 in 3 families couldn't access a high-quality learning experience. 1 in every 3 families. That was unacceptable to us. So we began talking. We spoke to people, over 18,000 people, and then we came back and we said, what can we do? What can we do now? And if you remember, Kresge committed $25 million, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation committed $25 million, and we said we're going to deploy these resources immediately. And we have done so. And when we think about what we've done, I just want to share with you some things that we're just so happy about as we move forward. But since that early commitment just 3 years ago, more than 5,000 children, and that's 10% of the Detroit young children, are now having more enriching early education experiences already. Over 5,000 children. And more than 11,000, which is 20%, now have access to what we're saying high quality services. So yes, change is happening, and it's happening because all of the partners in Hope Starts Here have come to the table strong and very committed to what our goal is and our vision is. And so they've created things like learning spaces. They've created they've been supporting community caregivers. They've been giving food. They created a food systems network that's improving classrooms experiences. We've been providing training and coaching and developing learning tools so that everyone can remain engaged. The Detroit Public Schools Community District and United Way for Southeastern Michigan have come together, as well as Impact Detroit, and they're working on parents and families across the city. And we're engaging the parents and the families not only to care and nurture for their children, but to upskill themselves if that is their interest. And they are getting involved and engaged and creating that nurturing environment for their young people. We also have more than 5,000 home visits. So people are connecting with families and making sure that this learning environment extends not just in a setting or a learning environment, but it extends throughout their entire day. And this is critically important for young people. We also have 600 courses that have been provided to over 7,000 parents and caregivers. So when we think about raising the quality, there's a concerted effort to make sure that every touch of a child is high quality. And that instruction is available now throughout the city, and I encourage everyone to make sure that if you haven't accessed it, to please go ahead and access this information. And then the last thing I want to share with you is how this collaboration is just growing. And when we think about how others have come to the table, and particularly other funders, it's just been a joy to see the community come together around children. I particularly want to call out a few: the Balmer Group, the Fisher Family Foundation, and PNC Foundation. When we talked about the commitments of Kresge and Kellogg, these other foundations have added another $27 million to this effort. And they have remained so strongly committed to the ideals that we have around every child in the city of Detroit. And particularly, I want to call out the Fisher Foundation. They've been at the table. They've been working in early childhood in this community way before Hope Starts Here. And so I want to tell their story because it's just a heartwarming story for me. Because in philanthropy, sometimes we can get kind of siloed. And we know that the Fisher Foundation had great intelligence and insights around this body of work. And it could have been a situation where they may have said, okay, Kellogg and Kresge, you guys do your thing. We know early childhood, and we're going to do our thing. But they didn't. They came to the table. They've been very instrumental. Those wonderful, lovely T-shirts that our young children are wearing now, Hug Me, oh my gosh. Every time I see a T-shirt, and I did get one for my grandchild, I just want to give somebody a hug. But in addition to that, their board, in a board action, adopted the 6 imperatives from Hope Starts Here for their continued work in early childhood education. And that's what I call collaboration and partnership, and that's what I call momentum, and that's what I call creating an infrastructure for early childhood for the city of Detroit that's going to be here for a very long time. And knowing that it's going to be here for a very long time, we also knew that we needed great leadership. And as you all applauded earlier, we are applauding at the Hope Starts Here Stewardship Board and taking a little breath because we know we have some phenomenal leadership that we're going to also wrap our arms around so that we can make sure that the leadership in this work is strong and it remains there guiding us toward that North Star, which is the vision. And Denise Smith is an awesome leader, and I'm so And since you're going to hear from Denise soon, I am going to close so we can move forward. But let me just say that Hope Starts Here is not a slogan, is not a tagline. I said earlier, for me, hope was a given. And I think for every child today, it should also be a given. And we must make sure that that is the spirit and the children that we are creating in our city for the future. So thank you all for your commitment, and I look forward to our work in the future.
Thank you, LeJune. Very inspiring. And next we'll hear from Rip Rapson, the president and CEO of the Kresge Foundation.
Thanks, Kamara. Good morning, everyone. The only requirement I've kind of put in place as part of the Hope Starts Here is that I not speak after LeJune. And they keep doing this to me. Let me just say, when you have the opportunity to follow LeJune to the stage, you don't need those. Sorry, team, it just doesn't work. Let me just say that the inspiration that you saw at the rostrum from LeJune is the same kind of inspiration she brings to every board meeting. We've been meeting for 3 years. She's been at every single meeting but one when she was in South Africa. So she has, I think, demonstrated the kind of commitment she talked about. But let me just say that someone like LeJune's inspiration doesn't stop at a board table, The work that she has done at Kellogg has just been remarkable. I've known the Kellogg Foundation for a quarter of a century. I've known 3 or 4 of their presidents, and this is the first real president they've had. Let me tell you, Lejeune is really something. And what's so remarkable is that she exercises that leadership from a position of positional authority, to be sure, but it comes from a much deeper, more profound place. As a native Detroiter, as a mother, as someone who cares deeply about every single family in this city, it's just, sorry, Lejeune, I'll stop, but it is just wonderful to watch, and it really has been, in many ways, the glue that has held this partnership together. Lejeune talked through so many of the things that we've accomplished over the last number of years, but from the Kresge perch, I must tell you that the thing that I think has been most striking is how important it has been to assemble a framework, how important it has been to establish a governing board, how important it is to have established 6 strategies that we could kind of get to work on. But what has really been important is really understanding more fully the power of the work that is already going on in every neighborhood of this city. It is just remarkable to see what these providers are doing, what the networks of family supports have been. For me, it's been the big eye-opener. And if we do nothing except try to create deeper, more profound, more lasting support for the folks who are on the ground doing this work every day, we will have been successful. And I think that's what's so wonderful about having you all here today. It's a recognition that this work is really block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. And when that all adds up, what we really have the promise to achieve is a city that genuinely puts families at the center, puts kids at the center, and recognizes that there is no way that this city will return to its rightful position of greatness until every child is ready to learn, every child is ready to succeed, and every child has a path into a better life. And I think that is what Hope Starts Here is about. That's why we are all so deeply proud to be part of it and why we're so thankful you're here today. So we have an enormous number of activities spread throughout the morning. I hope you will take full advantage of all of them. And I hope each and every one of the people in this room, persons in this room, will become a champion of hope. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Rip. And so now we'll hear from Alicia Merriweather, Deputy Superintendent of Detroit Public Schools Community District. She served on the Hope Starts Here Stewardship Board and is a fierce champion for Detroit's children and the connectivity between early childhood education and K through 12 education. Welcome, Alicia.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I taught middle school for 12 years, so you got to do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You know what? I am so honored to be here just to give a few greetings this morning. I love the theme of Hope Starts Here. As a lifelong Detroit resident, product of Detroit Public Schools, I've known since I was a little girl that hope starts here. And so I want to say to everyone this morning the importance of the work that you're doing in the early childhood space. Obviously, we talk about content, and we talk about mathematics, and we talk about literacy, but the whole theme here is hope. And what I want to say is, in addition to the academics, hope and love and trust and these intangibles are critically important. Does that make sense? So we need, I want to be very, very clear, that the K-12 education system needs early childhood to focus on mathematics and literacy, okay? I don't want that to get lost, but I also want to be clear that hope is critically important for young people. And all you have to do right now is look at the mental health situation in this country and in this city to understand that hope and faith and these things that are intangible are critically important. And hope starts here. And so I want to say to you a couple things. So if hope starts here, then when children leave our care, it's critically important that wherever else they go, that hope is protected and not stolen. And so every single person in this city plays a role in that journey. So hope can start here, but it can't stop here. And so I wanted to share with you something that's really been haunting me in some ways. Everyone's familiar with the African proverb that it takes a village. Yes, we've all heard that, and we agree with that. This is the village. But there is another proverb that's not so often heard, and it says this: children who do not feel the love of a village will burn it down to feel its warmth. I'm going to say it again because the first time I heard it, I had to think about it again. Children who do not feel the love of a village, substitute hope, the hope of a village, will burn it down to feel its warmth. And at the end of the day, I heard a couple mumblings here. That's the truth. And all you have to do is look around this city to see that happening with our young people and with our young people who become adults. And at the end of the day, the work that we do with young people is critically important to the city because not only do I agree with the statement that stadiums aren't going to be rebuilding the city all on their own. An investment in students, in young people, is the true future of this city. And so when we understand that, we use our time and our energy and our resources differently. Please be clear, stadiums are important. Investment is important. Downtown, midtown, and our neighborhoods are important. But children are the most important. And an investment in a human being is never a waste. An investment in a human being is never a waste, never. But an investment in a child brings dividends for generations. So at the end of the day, the work that you're doing here today, I hope inspires you to recommit to being champions for our children. The K-12 system depends on what happens before the young people get to us. So kindergarten starts with 5-year-olds. What happens before young people come to kindergarten is critically important. They're 5 years have passed in their life. But what has happened in those years makes all the difference. And so the work that you're doing here in this space today is very important to K-12, but it's very important to this city. I love this city. I know that most of you that are here today love this city like I do. I believe that. You're committed to the city. You're committed to our young people. And I want to leave you with this, that our children need hope and they need love. They need that balance of expectations and support, because support with no expectations is called enabling. But expectations with no support is crushing. And so you've got to have this balance of truth and love, and you've got to have all of these things working together for the betterment of our young people in our city. And so hope starts here, but it doesn't end here. Because each of us, when we leave from this place, take hope with us. And so I'm kind of playing on this. The hope starts here. So wherever I go, if I understand this, I take hope and I take belief and I take a vision for what's possible wherever I go. And I hope you think about that too as you leave from this place today. So I challenge everyone here to be a champion. I love the shirts. Be a champion who protects and guards hope that started here so that it doesn't get stolen from our young people as they go through their journey in this city. So as you learn today, take everything that you're learning and think about, what does this mean for the work that I do? But also, even more than just hope starts here being a slogan, hope starts here is the reality. If each of us take this work wherever we go, hope is wherever we are. And the more and more we have that hope spreading in this city, that combination of high expectations with support, this city will be a different place, as it is now. I think about, I've lived in this city my whole life. People say, how long have you been with Detroit Public Schools? Since I was 4 years old. And I was in Head Start. I was a Head Start baby at 4 years old by the Jeffries Projects. That's where I grew up, over by the Jeffries Projects. And here I am. And I say to you that the young people that were around me at that time and the teachers who influenced my life, those Head Start teachers, my kindergarten teacher, they made a difference. And so let us all commit to continue to making a difference for our young people. Hope starts here, but it doesn't stop here. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Lejeune and Rip. What a wonderful opening to our day, including from Alicia singing about what our name is. And so I prepared a little something to share before we go into our day, but Alicia just took everything I was gonna say. How does that happen? So I'm gonna share it a little bit more though. I think a name is important, right? So we talked about a little bit, my name is Kamara, right? And my name is Kamara, and that means one who teaches from experience. And I believe that every time you say my name, you speak life and purpose into my being, right? And so then why did we name this Hope Starts Here, right? Why hope? Why here? And some people say, right here. Well, we've been doing early childhood education for years because maybe here meant in this moment today to them. But actually, when the name was developed, it was about here. Hope starts here. And if I say that everywhere that I am and everywhere that I go, I'm speaking life into the work that I'm doing, into the sharing that I'm giving, into the people that I'm serving, and into the city that we're hoping to create to be better for our children. And so, in the spirit of early childhood education, I'm going to tell you a story. The Stone in the Road. So there is a story told of a king who lived long ago in a country across the sea. He was a very wise king, and he spared no effort to teach his people good habits. Often he did things which seemed to them a little strange and useless, but all that he did to teach his people to be industrious and careful. Nothing good can come to a nation, he said, whose people complain and expect others to fix their problems for them. The good things of life are often given to those who take matters into their own hands. So one night, while everyone was asleep, he placed a large stone in the road, where the road that led past his palace. Then he hid behind a hedge and waited to see what would happen. First came a farmer with his wagon heavily loaded with grain, which he was taking to the mill and to mill at the ground. Well, whoever saw such carelessness, he said crossly, as he turned his team and drove around the stone. Why don't these lazy people have that rock taken away from the road? And so he went on complaining of the uselessness of others, but not touching the stone himself. Soon afterward, a young soldier came singing along the road. The long plume of his cap waved in the breeze, and he had his bright sword on his side. He was thinking of his wonderful bravery that he shown in the previous war, and the soldier actually didn't see the stone. So he struck his foot against it and went on sprawling in the dust, so he fell down. He rose to his feet, shook the dust from his clothes, picked up his sword, and stormed off angrily about the lazy people who had no more sense than to leave this huge rock in the road. Then he too walked away, not once thinking that he might move it himself. So the day passed. Everybody who came by complained and whined because the stone lay in the road and nobody touched it. At last, just at nightfall, the miller's daughter came past. She was a very hard-working girl, and she was very exhausted. But she had been busy since early that morning in the mill. But she said to herself, "It is almost dark. Somebody could fall over this stone or hit it in the night, and perhaps they might get badly hurt. I'll have to just move it out of the way." So she tugged. It was so heavy. It was hard to move. She pulled and she pulled and she pushed and she lifted until finally it was moved from its place. And to her surprise, she found a box underneath. She lifted the box. It was heavy, for it was filled with something. And upon it was written, "This box belongs to the one who moves the stone." She opened the lid and found that it was full of gold. The miller's daughters went home so happy. And when the farmer and the soldier and all the others heard about what happened, they gathered up around the spot where the stone had been, and they scratched the dust and they started digging, and they're looking for a piece of gold. Still not trying to work now. They're not trying to move the stone. That was added to the story. My little part. "My friends," said the king, "we often find obstacles and burdens in our way. We may complain out loud while we walk around them if we choose, or we can lift them and find out what they mean. Disappointment is usually the price of laziness." And then he got on his horse and he went away. And so I think this story is really critically important, because when we think about Detroit and we think about some of the data and some of the experiences and the circumstances facing our children, we have many stones in Detroit in the roads. Our infant maternal mortality rates are the highest in the nation, and some higher than some third world countries. We have very extremely high rates of extreme poverty. We have 14% of our third graders reading at third grade level. We have no child care facilities or spaces for 26,000 children in the city of Detroit. We have jobs growing in the city of Detroit. We have a whole bunch of people who have talents, but they don't match, and so people can't get the job, right? So this is an environment where hope used to be felt, or in some places can be felt, and in other places there's a feeling of hopelessness. And so our team has decided that we are champions for hope, and that each one of us is going to move a stone. And we carry stones with us. If you will, please stand. Put your hands up. To represent and remind us that it is our duty individually to create hope and to move these stones. And this is my team who are champions for hope, and we wear shirts that say our commitment to what we plan to do every day for our children, which is hug them, love them, read to them, speak to them, play with them, and sing with them, as well as encourage them. And if you will notice, we have shared all of that with you today, already in this 45 minutes, because we believe deeply in our work. So today, we're asking that you join us in this work and be a champion for children. Now, we have ideation stations where you'll hear about work that people are doing across the city. You can contribute ideas, help them move forward with those innovative ideas. We have design workshops where you'll hear more about work that other organizations are doing and how you can be engaged. But what I'm really pushing you to do is to think thoughtfully about how hope can start here. What do you have? What are your talents? What are your assets? What can you do within your sphere that can help children in Detroit be ready for school and life? And that has not been created yet. I'm hoping that you will capture that on a sheet that is inside your folder that says, "I'm a champion for children, here's what I want to do." And we'll have an opportunity later in the day to hear from you and others around what that might look like. There's also a photo booth out front, and we'd love for you to take pictures and selfies and post what you're doing. Our Facebook page has a sign-up link where you can sign up to be a champion for hope and tell us more about what you think that you can do to contribute to our children being successful. I would say be creative, be involved, be you. We'll check in later, and we hope that you really enjoy this day. Thank you so much for being here. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to share 2 more things. That was so exciting. It felt so good. I felt like I should have dropped the mic, and then I forgot some stuff. So we have a few other things. So ideation stations are out in the hallway. There will be design session in here, a panel around advocacy. There'll be another panel in the back room where you can pass through the hallway to be able to be and participate in that. We also have a networking session with the Stewardship Board. Would the Stewardship Board members please stand? So we're so excited to have them here today. So if you're interested in having a conversation with them, sharing more about your work, hearing more about their work, or sharing your ideas, there will be a place, there's a room where they'll have tables set up for you to come in and chat with them and talk more about them. And we have people in the hallways who can help direct you to those locations. Have I said everything? Okay, thank you so much. How much time do they have to get to this place? Because we're a little bit behind time. So you have 10 minutes to make your decision and selections as you decide where to go. Thank you so much.